The views expressed on this program are those of the host, guest, and callers and are not necessarily those of KKNW, its management, or other advertisers. This program is sponsored by Marie Manuchehri.
Welcome to the Marie Manuchehri Show, where energy and medicine meet. I will be your host for the next hour. I have over 19 years of healthcare experience and began my career as an energy medicine practitioner while working as an oncology nurse at a Seattle area hospital. My skill in moving energy combined with my medical background have been a catalyst for change in many people's lives. I hope the next hour will be transformative for you as well. Good morning and welcome to the show. We are in really sunny, super pretty. I think I'll be able to plant all those cute little things that I bought at Swanson's a couple of weeks ago.
Did you max out your credit card again?
No.
Just kidding.
Yeah. Not at the flower store.
Oh, okay.
When I travel,
Ooh.
I tend to get, because I buy a lot of gifts for everyone, because I love to go to like when I was in Greece last year. And we're going back to Greece, and that is filling up, by the way. So you definitely want to get on board about Greece. And also our lovely class about the vibrational class, online one, it is sold out, but we are taking people who want to be on the cancellation list in case somebody cancels. I will teach that class again. I just have to find some time in my schedule, but we'll definitely make that happen. The vibrational coaching
You can't
class.
snooze or you'll lose.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta
right.
get in
Right.
now.
Right.
Right,
Right.
right,
So it's a
exactly.
gorgeous day here in
It
Seattle.
is.
And Seattleite people are actually really friendly when it's nice out.
We're like beyond that.
Yeah, we're like
We really are.
Yeah, like you go to the gas pump and someone will go, "Isn't it gorgeous? I'm taking my boat out today." And normally Seattle people, we actually don't share a lot of personal information. Maybe because we're cold.
Not a
I
lot
don't
of
really know.
commonalities.
Yeah, there's just not a lot happening, especially if you live in Seattle proper.
Mm-hmm.
So right now our anxiety level is really low here while the sun's out. But typically I think Seattleites could really benefit from our next guest book, Outsmart Your Anxious Brain,
Yeah.
Dr. David Carbonell, who we've interviewed before. He's also the author of...
He's back.
He's back! He's the author of The Worry Trick, a fabulous book. Really love that book. And so now we have him back because he has a brand new book out. And he says in the book that anxiety is the ultimate trickster, trying to convince us we're in danger when we're not. In every case, it causes us to question our decisions, doubt ourselves, or worry incessantly about the future. And worst of all, it keeps us from living joyfully in the present moment. Dr. Carbonell, a fun fact, and welcome to the show, by the way. Thank you for coming on the show. A fun fact is that you also are an actor and that you are the founding member of the Therapy Players and Improvisational, sorry, I'm having a hard time talking today, comedy troupe, a professional psychotherapist in the Chicago area. How exciting.
Yeah, that's right. It's a lot of fun. Gee, we're in our seventh year doing this now.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, fun fact. But you are a clinical psychologist and you specialize in treating anxiety. You're the author of 4 self-help books: Panic Attack Workbook, The Worry Trick, Fear of Flying Workbook, Outsmart Your Anxiety Brain, 10 Simple Ways to Beat the Worry Trick. And you're a coach on a popular self-help site, anxietycoach.com.
That's right. And I'm coming to you from snowy Chicago today.
Oh, is it snowing there?
Yeah.
Aw.
Well, it's always snowing in Chicago.
Yeah. I was there. I've been there twice. I love Chicago proper. Love it. I've been there to teach a few times. And one of my favorite cities because people are so friendly.
Yeah. It's a nice city. It's easy to get around. People are laid back. Don't park where they've shoveled out their snow. Otherwise, everybody is cool.
Okay, good to know. If you're in Chicago, don't think that someone shoveled out that parking spot for you. That's their space.
So
They
don't
worked
take it.
hours
Yeah,
doing
don't
that.
take it.
Yeah. And then if you happen to be in Seattle today visiting or whatnot, just know this is the perfect day to start to talk to everyone because everyone's happy. Our anxiety level will be low with the sun out.
Just throw a smile at them.
Yeah,
Not a
just,
hard thing to
right?
do.
Yeah,
Just
please do that.
Yeah.
So you write in the book that when people panic, they try to take a deep breath right away. And you say it actually makes things worse.
Yes. And big picture, almost everything people do initially when they start to panic, they're desperately trying to help themselves feel better. It almost always makes things worse.
Wow.
And the breath is perhaps the most illustrative example.
Wow.
they get a sense I'm not getting enough air, and their brain is screaming at them, take a deep breath, take a deep breath. And so they try and pull in a big inhale, but because they're already breathing so short and shallow just from the top of their chest, well, if you inhale from that posture, the only kind of inhale you can take is another gaspy, labored, short and shallow breath. And it feels worse. And that really scares them because it gives them the idea, geez, I'm going to run out of air soon.
Wow.
And the trick there, as with so many other things about moments of panic and high anxiety, they need to exhale first. Their brain is screaming at them, take a deep breath, and that's a good idea. But first I need to give one away, relax my upper body, so now I can breathe more from my diaphragm and do the original idea I had, take a breath from the deeper part of my body. And they're just taking a very labored, short and shallow breath. And it's frustrating and scary for them.
That's such good advice, and I've actually never heard of this before, but it makes total sense. I mean, because when you're scared, you're right, the whole upper thoracic cavity is contracted. And most of us breathe from our upper chest anyway, because most people are in anxiety to some degree throughout the day, unfortunately, from our minds, right? Our minds telling us all kinds of terrible things that have nothing to do with any sort of truth. And so what a great idea to just exhale first, get that breath, out before you take a breath in.
That's right. Make some room.
Wow.
So that you can breathe from your abdomen rather than from your upper chest. And that works with something as purely physical as the breathing. And this notion of my gut instinct is wrong, I should do the opposite of my gut instinct, applies in so many ways to moments of high anxiety.
I just really loved reading that in your media packet that you gave me, because it's so true. Most people they don't know how to really read their authentic intuition, which is a very calm, relaxed, peaceful part of the body. And so a lot of people follow what they think is that gut instinct, which is really the fear part of the body, right? It truly isn't delivering authentic information.
No, not at all. It's a screamer. It's a heckler.
Oh, I love that. It's a screamer. It's a heckler. And because I've never used those words before to describe it. And that's a fantastic way to describe it, because that's what I've trained my mind to be aware of, is that when I'm like, that it's probably completely false information, has nothing to do with me or what's going on in my life at all. But I've had to train myself to observe it. And that way, I love your terminology. The screamer. Don't listen to the screamer.
Yeah. Well, you're going to hear the screaming.
Right.
But no need to take it to heart. Oh dear, there's that screaming again. Oh well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think, go ahead,
that's
please.
the other thing people might try to do. They try and shut up that voice of the screamer. And of course, the harder they try and suppress that, well, the louder it gets. So they end up arguing with themselves. And that's an argument that can go on forever.
Wow. Well, and you write that, one of the most common and natural occurrences is that we feel afraid most of the time.
Yes, even when we can see we're not in any danger.
Right. So being mindful of that of the screamer, but recognizing that the screamer is probably not providing you accurate information.
Right. That's
Wow.
exactly right. Yeah.
Wow.
If I could get rid of the screamer, that would be nice. But most times people have tried and well, it's like trying to get a song out of your head. If that song is stuck in your head,
Right.
God forbid you oppose that song, you're going to be humming a few bars the rest of the day.
I didn't think about it that way, but again, you're so right on. I actually find it humorous. I like to listen to the screamer in my head. I mean, not that I want to focus on it, but when it comes, I'm like, always like, oh, but that's probably not true. And then I love to kind of venture out in the world to prove that my screamer was inaccurate, so to speak. So I don't mind hearing it, but I've just trained myself to not react to it, or to catch myself when I start to react. And so what are one of your cool tricks, I should say, about how to catch yourself when that screaming voice is there? Because so many times we're not very conscious to that voice. We just start to automatically react, and make choices and
Right.
decisions based on this terrible story that we're hearing in our head that feels life-threatening.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I look to find ways to help people to literally sensitize themselves to be able to get better at catching that in the act. And one of the best ways is becoming more aware in the moment of how often people are thinking or saying the words "what if." Uh,
I
what if is an enormous cue here.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
it's so funny, Dr. Carbonell, because I teach people to say positive what if questions because I loved reading that in your material about the negative what if questions because that's what people are saying all day long. And you said that's the telltale sign that you're in anxiety, you're in fear, you're
Yes.
running down that dark alley, and there are, monsters hiding in the archways of buildings going to attack you. That's literally
Yeah.
what's happening with all those negative what if questions.
Yeah, even while you're sitting in your lazy boy in the living room, that's where the what if is taking you. Yeah.
Wow.
Uh,
What when you think about the human condition and how interesting the human mind is, powerful and interesting and somewhat destructive to the human race, at least in my opinion, aspects of it. What do you think got us to this place, or do you think we've always been this way?
well, I think we've probably always been this way, but we were in different environments where we faced on a daily basis. I'm talking a couple of thousand years ago now, where there were predators and animalistic threats at every turn. And this was a useful survival technique to be always watching for the worst, always watching for the worst, um, because our brain is organized. It would, our brain would rather see 10 lions that weren't there than miss one lion that was. Uh,
Oh.
so
Mm-hmm.
I think what's really changed is we no longer have all these predators around us, and our
Mm-hmm.
brains keep wondering, where is it? Where is it? I'm going to look harder.
Wow.
Uh, so it's not intended, if we could use that word here, it's not intended in a negative or malevolent way. It's a safekeeping device that's run amok now because there are so very few predators as I go to my office.
Right. There's no lions lurking to catch you or
Right.
one of my daughters actually travels internationally for work, and she was in South Africa, and she was jogging around. I know seems like a long story, but she was jogging around the event where she was staying, and she was told by some of the people that kind of guard this estate that they were staying on that she could never do that because one of the most dangerous snakes in the world lives, in this area, and there's no cure for a bite. If you get bitten, you're going to die.
You're going down.
Right. So I can see, like what you said, like, okay, these things were real for us, right, on a common basis regularly when we had predators and we didn't live in homes or whatever the deal was historically. But it's so rare today. Like my daughter had never heard of that. She didn't even know there was a snake like that, So now she jogs on a treadmill if she goes to that particular place inside.
Swiping at her ankles
Right.
every so often.
But it's so interesting that our mind is somewhat prepared for this snake that only lives in certain parts of the world,
Yeah, yeah. Well, and there are certain, in terms of when people develop phobias, well, we're pre-programmed to be ready to develop phobias for certain kinds of events. Easy to develop a snake phobia.
Yeah.
Very, very hard to develop a bunny rabbit phobia because, for thousands of years, snakes were a bad thing, and it was useful to be afraid of snakes. It's never been useful to be afraid of bunnies.
No, I just worry about the bunnies by my house. I'm afraid my cats are going to, have them for a snack because I really like them. You write, this is lovely. I'm really enjoying our conversation. Thank you so much for coming on the show. You write that the problem with distraction. So a lot of people try to distract themselves from their anxiety, but you don't believe that's an effective tool.
No, for a couple of reasons. One, it's just most frequently ineffective. If something in your immediate environment. There's an event that distracts you. You get a phone call, say, and it's somebody you went to high school with 7 years ago, however many
30
years.
years ago. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And maybe you're starting to have a panic attack and the phone rings and there's Susie from your first grade class and you have a wonderful conversation. Maybe an hour later you realize, oh my God, I was starting to have a panic attack and that phone call distracted me. And that works. But now people get the idea, well, next time I have a panic attack, I'll just distract myself. And that's not the same thing. That doesn't really work so well at all. Because when you try and distract yourself, you're essentially telling yourself, stop thinking about X, Y, Z. And the minute I tell myself, don't think about X, Y, Z, guess what I'm
Yeah.
thinking?
Right?
Yeah,
Right.
so it's just not effective. And it also conveys to the individual that they are so vulnerable that maybe thoughts could kill them, that, having the wrong thought might be dangerous.
Wow.
And that's a tough way to live if you think, that inside your brain there's a fifth column of saboteurs that are going to strike you down at any time.
Wow.
And of course, thoughts aren't dangerous. You can have thoughts about dangerous actions, but the thoughts themselves are not dangerous. And so the more this leads people to increasingly try to rely on distraction, and they fail and fail and feel more vulnerable as a result.
And so you recommend observation instead?
Yes, yeah, let me work with the thoughts rather than against them.
I love that idea. So, in other words, you use maybe more common sense as you are observing, what's really going on instead of distracting yourself from it.
Yes, yeah. I'll often have people ask people to take notes, fill out a questionnaire if they're having say, a full-blown panic attack. And initially, they don't think much of that idea. But it's so interesting as people fill out the questionnaire, guess what happens? The strength of the attack subsides.
Right.
And it's not a distraction. They're writing out the answers to questions about, well, what are you afraid is going to happen on a 1 to 10 scale? How panicky are you? So on and so forth. And the more they observe and write those answers, the better they feel. That's a very persuasive experiment for a lot of people. I see how that actually works.
Well, and I never thought about writing it out. I think that's an awesome technique. I know that at times we finally get to a place where we let our brain kind of show us from this observation that what we were panicking about isn't even possible. Like somehow we work it out. But I love the idea because if you write it down, first of all, that's probably going to calm you, just to do an activity to disrupt. I know that's probably kind of a distraction, but to actually methodically move through it and see that, oh, wow, 90% of this isn't even probable.
Yeah, that's right. And I don't think of that as a distraction because they're focusing on the panicky content. They're just focusing on it from a different editorial perspective. So the subject is the same. They're reacting to it differently. And even the act of writing, well, at the same time as that they're writing, they're reading. And so different parts of the brain are getting engaged.
That is brilliant, by the way. That is brilliant. So then you also talk about there's a difference between being the observer versus the victim. So I'm assuming maybe sometimes individuals are more, when they do this journaling of this anxiety that they're experiencing, they could potentially write it from a victim perspective.
I suppose that's possible. My experience, though, is that doing the writing, answering the questionnaires is pretty effective at moving people into that observer role.
Okay. So it actually gets you out of the victim role, is what you're saying.
Yeah. When the screamer is ascendant, when there's no observation going on, that's when people are most firmly ensconced in the role of victim.
Wow.
And the more they can observe, the more they can be noticing, okay, I'm having these thoughts and these physical sensations, and now I'm predicting that I'm going to die and so on. Oh, this is what happened the last time too. The more they can observe, the less they are feeling victimized. You can't be at both ends of the spectrum at the same time. And so the more a person can be in that observer role, generally, I think the calmer and the more in control they begin to feel.
And so your books can help, the average worrier, but anyone who's even having severe phobias. Your books are fabulous for this because you actually um, you treat anxiety disorders, of course, but you also coach thousands of therapists in the U.S. and abroad, like 10,000.
Yes, yeah, I travel monthly and take my workshop to mostly cities around the U.S., but occasionally Europe and elsewhere. Uh,
Wow.
and training professional therapists in these methods.
Have you taken the acting troupe with you?
No, I haven't. I've brought the spirit of it with me.
Yeah, no,
You
that's
know,
lovely, but I mean that might be kind of fun.
yeah, we're a troop of 9 people. It's expensive.
Yes, this is
Travel
true.
with other people,
S-
so yeah, we've stayed in Chicago.
Okay. So back to the lovely anxiety, topic that we're talking about today. What are safety behaviors and what makes them a problem?
Well, safety behaviors are these natural responses that people almost immediately gravitate to once they've had a bad episode of anxiety. Uh, uh, Objects and activities that people come to rely on that they hope are going to help them stay safe.
Mm,
Support person, bring in if there's somebody in your world you identify as your support person, and maybe you're afraid of driving on the highway, but gee, if I have my support person with me, then I can drive on the highway. Okay. I can do more of my ordinary activities if I have my support person.
oh, wow.
And on one hand, well, that's, there's something good there. You're getting more of your activities done. That's good. You can get to the job, you can get to the wherever you're going. But on the other, the affected individual, the frightened individual, tends to attribute all that power and success to the support person and not to themselves. If not for my support person, then I would have had a terrible episode and collapsed. And so over
Mm,
time, they come to feel more dependent and more vulnerable because in their minds, the only thing that's keeping me copacetic is the presence of my support person.
wow.
And what if they disappear on me somehow?
So it actually just creates more anxiety.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Wow.
People feel more vulnerable. Support
Wow.
objects, same thing. Stuff people carry with them.
Right.
Uh,
I'm thinking of professional athletes who have superstitions, and
Yeah, yeah, that's an excellent. Yeah, lucky shirts, lucky sweaters. Yeah, got to wear those socks that I wore the World Series in 1972. Uh, Stuff like that. And with an anxiety disorder, this contributes to people feeling that they've been saved, they've been protected by their favorite socks or their emotional support animal, maybe. And now they come to feel more vulnerable, more threatened, because I'm only all right because of this object.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And you talk about in that observational, aspect of having more consciousness of what's really going on with you, that there's a symptom inventory that you can take.
Yes, yes. I use that particularly with a lot of specific phobias. This is a great observational tool. I ask people to develop an inventory of all the symptoms that they expect to experience when, say, if it's a fearful flyer when they get on the plane, or if it's a fearful driver when they get on the highway, or somebody who's afraid of dogs and they're going to take an
Yeah.
unstructured and so on. And I help them develop a list of all the symptoms they expect to experience in that encounter with their feared object or activity. And they're broken down in categories. All the scary physical sensations I expect to have, all the scary thoughts I expect to materialize in my mind, all the negative emotions that I expect to feel, and all the frightened behaviors. Even behaviors are signs of fear: holding my breath, screaming, running away, closing my eyes, all that. So they get a good inventory of all these symptoms, and then next time they go out to practice with the airplane, with the driving, whatever, I want them to keep a simple count of how many times do I have each and every one of these symptoms. And so now the first thing they're doing on experiencing the symptom is they go to their list, check, where they're taking a simple count for all of these. And we don't so much care what the total number is. The counting is an early step in the process of acceptance.
Wow.
Individual is literally training themselves to cultivate a more accepting response to the presence of each and every one of those symptoms.
Wow. And when you are screaming and your eyes are closed and you're jumping up and down, it's a little embarrassing. I just might, say. I've done this a few times. I used to be terrified of dogs. And I've had a few cute little dogs scared the bananas out of me. Of course, now I have a dog, so I clearly got through that. But it's a little embarrassing, when you're
also hard to write.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have had a wonderful time having you here on the show, Dr. Carbonell, who's a PhD of clinical psychology, and you specialize in treating anxiety. You're the author of 4 self-help books, and the one we're talking about today is Outsmart Your Anxious Brain. Love it. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure.
It's a pleasure. And how can people find you?
Best way to find me is to go to my website at anxietycoach.com.
Great.
ANXITY coach.com. They'll find all my books there. They'll find lots and lots, gobs and gobs of free self-help materials and information there.
Love it.
Journals there if you want to download them. So that would be the way to find me, anxietycoach.com.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Carbonell. Have a beautiful snowy day in Chicago.
Great. Thank you so much for having me. I'll be
You're
thinking
welcome.
about your lovely weather.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
We appreciate it. Thanks, Dr. Carbonell. And if you'd like to join us on the second half of the show now, it will begin for the mini readings for Marie. 877-825-8828 is the number for the show. 877-825-8828. We'll be right back with more from Marie. The preceding audio was via a Skype call.
Did you know a shift in your relationship with your mom could transform your relationships in life? It's true, and we're sharing how. Starting today, you have the chance to claim your ticket to the Mother-Daughter Summit for free. My name is Ana Paula Muñoz, and I'm a spiritual architect. And along with my mother, Adriana Holguin, a conscious parenting mentor and school principal, we're hosting this event for you. Join us for a series of transformational conversations where you will learn from the top experts in the fields of personal development, psychology, and spirituality. They will be sharing their best practices, tools, and a special gift with you so you can easily apply what you learn into your life and create lasting results. Claim your free ticket at themotherdaughtersummit.com. We launch on February 20th, so sign up now at www.themotherdaughtersummit.com.
Alternative Talk 1150 is your sports organization's safe bet when it comes to airing your team's games. Our players are all seasoned professionals when it comes to sports programming. Imagine your games being heard on local radio. Your team deserves the MVP treatment. Call 425-653-1150 today to learn how affordable and fun it is to broadcast your games on the radio. Call 425-653-1150 and make your next season something special. That's 425-653-1150.
Hi, this is Marie Manuchehri, and I'm excited to share upcoming online courses that I'll be offering in 2020. Mastering the What If Phenomenon. April 22nd and 29th of 2020. As many of you know, we talk a lot about the phenomenon of what if questions. What if questions to me are the equivalent to affirmations. However, they have a kick to them. We're working on numbing the ego so that it doesn't scare us every time we work on creating and manifesting something in our life. I personally believe that affirmations don't work very well because the ego mind is intimidated by things that we affirm that we have yet to create a belief system about. So, what if questions resolve that conflict? Because the ego is not threatened by curiosity. So when we ask a what if question, what if I easily receive wealth?
We quickly create a belief system in the neurotransmitters. I believe what if questions work 1,000 times faster than affirmations, which sometimes affirmations can take over 10 years to create the belief system in your brain. So April 22nd and 29th of 2020, I will be offering a 2-part 90-minute course, 7 to 8:30, yes, on Wednesdays again, on mastering what if phenomenon, so you can quickly create the belief systems that you desire to manifest the things that you have already really placed into motion, so you can allow them into your life and have the life of your dreams. I hope you can join me.
Our veterans risked it all to protect our freedom. One of the best ways to say thank you is to volunteer to support them. At a time in history where kindness is a virtue, volunteering means a lot. For over 47 years, Help Heal Veterans, a not-for-profit organization with the support of citizens like you, have delivered therapy kits to veterans who need them. To volunteer or learn more, visit healvets.org. That's healvets.org.
Marie is doing it again. She's headed to Greece for another fabulous retreat on the island of Syros. This time, it's a week-long adventure with sun, swimming, incredible food, daily yoga, and a 4-star accommodation, which will include intimate and powerful teachings to help you manifest your dreams into your reality. Space is limited to just 25 lucky and blessed individuals who are ready to generate an astonishing life. Even if you're not sure what possibilities are in store for you, this retreat in glorious Greece will propel you into the vibrational awareness you crave. You will learn, practice, and play with lecture, meditation, and enjoy all the spectacular land and seascapes this magnificent and remote location has to offer. For more information or to book your accommodations, visit energyintuitive.com or call 425-485-8813 for this amazing retreat.
Going our own way every day. Alternative Talk 1150.
Great music, Benny. Thank you.
You're one of the
Love
wild
it.
things. Remember reading that book? That book was the best. In grade school. Where the Wild Things?
I don't remember that one.
Marie.
I don't know. I only really remember college. I loved college. I really did
I
not
think I
like
read it in
school.
college, too.
Oh, you really? Okay. I'll look for it.
I
Maybe
coulda.
it's, one of the weird things is when your kids get older, they drop all their crap off into your garage. And my kids are all married now. They own their own homes. And somehow, because the kid's dad moved, I got all the stuff that he hadn't.
Sure.
Got. So I have a whole bunch of college books right now in my garage. I'll just kind of look
First
through
and second
Misha's
editions.
stuff and see if that book is there.
Well, if it's chemistry stuff, not as much has changed, except for the additions. And I remember in college they were like $80 a book.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
it was very
it was
expensive.
unreal. And I'm like,
Yeah.
can we use the next year's edition? No, you have to buy another one, which has like one typo
Right.
that was
yeah.
fixed. And it's like,
Right.
that doesn't count. as well.
But you could sell your books. You could go
But it's
back
not
to the
the
bookstore.
same.
I think you got like 50%.
Yay.
Yeah. They are very expensive.
We know
I
how the
agree.
universities are making their money.
Yeah,
We
they
get
really
it.
are. That's
We
one of
get
their
it.
ways.
All right. So you are listening to the Marie Manuchehri Show. If you're just tuning in, we just had a wonderful interview with Dr. David Carbonell.
That was great.
Yeah,
I
the-
really like him. He is fun.
the anxiety coach.
Yeah. And it's so funny because he says what I've been saying for a long time. Those negative what if questions are a disaster.
Yeah.
Stay away from them. Make a positive what if question. He didn't say that part, but make a positive what if question. What if my day is amazing? What if something wonderful happens today? What if I'm on the right track? What if everything is working out for me? And our what if question cards are being designed right now, so we should have some in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
I think I've been saying that for a little while, but we've been a little
saying it.
slow.
Keep
yeah.
on, keep it on.
So who do we have on the phone line?
Yeah, well, let's give out the number too.
Okay.
877-825-8828. So we'll take now Dorothy calling in from the Tacoma area. Hi, Dorothy.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Hi, Dorothy. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing okay. Thanks so much for taking my call.
Of course. What can I do for you?
Well, I am a nurse, and for the last
nice.
thank you. For the last 4 months, I've been having some shoulder pain.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did everything I could think of, massage therapy and some acupuncture and sometimes some Aleve.
It looks a little frozen to me. Would you say that could be what's happening for you?
That's exactly what happened. I went to an orthopedic doctor. He did an MRI. There's a torn rotator cuff.
Oh, even your rotator cuff is torn. But a not very big tear. Is that true?
No, it was a little over half, but it's not horrible. And
does he want to do surgery on it?
Well, I was going to do surgery Tuesday, and then a week ago it just froze up.
Yeah, no.
And he said, no surgery now. You have to get your mobility back.
And I don't want you to have surgery. Not that I'm not against rotator cuff repair, and it sounds like a bigger tear than what I originally thought. But I think that you could actually heal this significantly on your own. That's what I think. But of course, you can go back in for another MRI after the frozen shoulder is recovered, right? Or whatever he's recommending. And of course, if you need surgery, you'll go get it done. But this is because you have too many burdens. You have a lot of burdens, and you don't know how to let go. You don't know how to get out of the way. You try to take care of everyone. Typical kind of nurse syndrome. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And so even if you had the rotator cuff repaired, let's say that ultimately that's what you end up doing through the conventional route, that if you don't get rid of these burdens, you could injure the other one. And I know the acuity these days with patients is high, so there's a lot of work that you're doing, even physical work. So
yeah, it's even made me wonder if I should get out of the field.
I think you should, personally. I think it's time for you to let go and do something else. I mean, luckily you don't hate your job. I think people should leave their occupations before they hate them. Because that's just a really low frequency and it's really hard, right, Benny?
I agree 100% on that.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, I love my job still to this day, 20 years into it. And the day I was like, I go in, I'm like, it's not going to happen anymore. I'm like, I'm
out there,
put in my
right?
2 weeks. Yep.
Right, because we're supposed to be happy. We spend so much time at work. We need to be filled with joy.
Gotta be happy.
So you're already in a good place. And Benny, I'm so proud that you love your job still after 20 years.
I mean, we led with the weather.
Yeah.
We've been missing it, and it just has changed our atmosphere and our emotions.
So funny,
180,
right? We have an amazing view from the studio.
I mean, that helps too.
Yeah. So you need to get rid of your burdens. You're already in a high frequency about work because you don't hate it yet. So this is the time to make a change. And then we can get your shoulder to, if it doesn't completely repair, it will start to repair and get maybe 50% better. Or I actually think it can repair on its own, which is really interesting. You have a very lucky body. Like your body's talking to me like, we got it. We can take care of this. That's what your body's literally telling me. Is that true? Have you been able to recover from things pretty naturally?
Well, I feel like I've just been active and healthy, and I feel confident in my body. This has just taken me by surprise.
Well, it's not the end of the world. It's not a horrible disease. So that's the good thing. You can relax. The frozen shoulder, I think, is hormonally related, honestly. Yeah. So hormones are changing. Your body doesn't want to be at work anymore. So are you taking a sabbatical from work right now for your shoulder?
Not yet, no.
Oh, why not?
Well, because of financial obligations, and I'm thinking to myself, how can I let my burdens go? Because some of the biggest burdens are financial. But my husband is looking to go to school, and that might lead to a career opportunity that'll help take the financial burdens off of me, which would be huge.
And so let me just say a couple things about money. This is an important part of all of us on the human realm having independence and comfort with money, because money is just energy, and how we relate to money actually matters. So before you open up your wallet, your purse, look at your checkbook, get online to do any sort of banking or open up your mailbox, you need to check your energy. So here's a great example when I'm looking at you intuitively. When you go to work, because you have, and I want you to take some time off or ask them to take you off the floor or however, I don't know exactly how you work, but you need to do a step down type of work until you get better. You know what I mean? So please go talk to them. But when you go to work, because you're such an advocate for patients, you really do shift your energy. Like if you had a bad day at home, or you shift your energy because you feel this great respect and honor in the work that you do. Do you agree with me, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want you to do the same thing with money. You can't have a negative thought about money and connect with it and have positive outcome. It's impossible. So you need to think of happy thoughts before you open your purse. Unrelated. You need to look out the window, see how, because it is a beautiful day here today in the Northwest, right? Do something to get your energy in a completely different frequency before you connect. And then money will just start flowing into your life. And use positive what if questions. What if I get to do work that I love, that's really fulfilling for me, and I am paid beautifully?
Mm-hmm.
Start doing those things so that you can have that freedom.
Okay.
Okay?
Interesting. One more little thing, because I know you've got other callers,
Right.
is the hormonal thing.
Yeah.
I'm 2 years into menopause.
Right.
And I just started hormone therapy like a month ago.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah.
Huh.
And make sure that you do herbs for your adrenal glands, because the adrenals are really the powerhouse for the entire endocrine system. This is not something modern medicine has even bothered to study, which is natural remedies or, supplements. And
Sure.
But make sure you're taking herbs for your adrenals. That will help you significantly.
Okay.
Okay?
Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks, Dorothy, for joining us from the Tacoma area. 877-825-8828 for the Marie Manuchehri Show. If you're just tuning in, the phone lines are opening up. And quick hello to our newest producer for the show, Courtney.
Yes,
Yay
yes.
for joining the show. Round of applause. Yay. Oh, yay, yay.
So,
now I brought the studio on. They were a little late getting in, so,
So my assistant Lisa is taking a step back from being an assistant for me. And so we now have Courtney, who is my new assistant.
Yay!
Welcome aboard. And so she's coming to the studio with us on Thursday. This
She
is
got
her
her
first
feet
time.
wet real quick here.
Of course.
Real quick.
It helped that we were interviewing Dr. Carbonell this morning because
helps out.
Benny could
Totally.
spend some time with Courtney and
got it.
all the equipment.
Yep.
Okay, who do we have?
We'll take now Catherine calling in from the Federal Way area. Hi, Catherine.
Hi.
Hi, Catherine. How are you?
How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for asking. What can I do for you?
Well, you always sound great. So
I usually am, believe it or not, but I make choices in my life, conscious decisions from observing my life that are in my highest good.
right on.
Okay, so what can I do for you?
Yeah, I'm calling. First, I want to thank you for the speaker. It was exactly what I needed to hear at this time. So that was awesome. Thank
Great.
you.
You're
I
welcome.
will be checking out that website for sure. What I was calling about is I called a few months ago and about how my life is in such limbo and how it's kind of affecting me emotionally, health-wise, and stuff. And you reassured me it's just that's what's happening, and that's where I am, and it's good, that it's going to be okay. I think I'm just calling in to check in with guys and just to make sure that I'm really listening and doing what I'm supposed to be doing right now in my life, and because I'm not used to being such a limbo person.
So good for you, though. You need to stop trying to control everything.
Yeah, it's so weird to me, and it's like I just sometimes I just kind of go, I don't understand what's happening and what's going on.
I really like that, though. I think there's very few moments in our life where we get to feel like we're 20 again.
Oh, is that what I'm supposed to feel like I'm 20? Okay.
Well, if you were 20 and everything was happening that's happening right now, you wouldn't even care because you don't know what your life is going to be about. You know when you're 20, who knows what's going to happen for most people? Like they're getting out of college or they're in college. They don't know who they're going to marry. If they're going to marry, they don't know if they're going to have kids. They don't know where they're going to live. I mean,
they have a lot going on.
They have a lot going on, and there's freedom.
That's actually kind of hard for me to relate to because I married my
you missed
husband
it
from high school, and I was becoming a mom at 20.
You missed it. You missed that
I missed
fun.
all that.
But here you are. You're actually having it now.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. So again, nothing's wrong. You need to learn how to stop trying to control things and just be okay in the not knowing. Like that's again, there aren't too many times in our life. That's why I picked the double digit 20 because that's the time where we don't know, and no one's really has an expectation for us to know at that time. We're exploring, we're wondering, we're dreaming, and we're not limited. So don't limit yourself. Be comfortable. Maybe a great what if question for you. What if it's okay for me to have a 20-something experience right now in my life? I think that will reduce your anxiety.
Okay.
and put you in more of that creative sector of, wow, the world is my oyster. What am I going to do? I don't know, but it's going to be magnificent. It's going to be fun. It's going to be an adventure.
I guess I always, I start feeling that way, start dreaming, then I wonder, well, how's this going to affect, like the marriage, because my husband and I have, I think, different ideas. He's comfortable with just the way it is, and I'm more of the dreamer. And
yeah, well, I mean, who knows what's going to happen? But the 20-year-olds aren't thinking about how it's going to affect other people in their life. Remember, they're really thinking about themselves. So you need to be focused on you, because you have spent up until this point most of your life thinking about everybody else and taking care of everyone as a whole. And now this is your opportunity where you're really not needed in that way right now. And you're not, at least from my opinion. Like, so if you have children, they must be somewhat grown or somewhat independent, right?
Yeah.
Your husband's an independent person. He doesn't need you, ushering him around the world. So now it's you have this get out of jail free card where you can be your authentic person. You don't know who you are. You're going to find out. You're 20. It's great.
Okay.
So just let go. What if I let go?
Okay.
What if I surrender and get out of the way?
Okay.
All right. And then let me know how it goes. Okay.
Would I throw a quick question in?
Quick.
Okay. So we were just asked if we would co-sign on helping our daughter purchase her first home, and it's like an uninhibited co-signer thing. It's just for a year.
Oh, a year? Okay. If it's only a year
it's just for
commitment,
a year.
Then that's fine. But other than that, no. Only a year is perfectly fine. But
sounds like put a limitation on it.
Yeah, put some limitations. I don't want you to be like on board for 30 years for this house. You know what I mean?
No. It's just that she was a stay-home mom, and she's back to work, and she actually makes more money than her husband. And
Great.
It's just, that was where she has the best credit, better than his. Everything was great until they said, "Oh, but you didn't work for a year and a half, 2 years to be a stay-home mom," and so they got punished for it. And they said the only way we can go further with this is if you have a co-signer that says that they basically shows they have the finances to cover your income if you're not working
For 1 year.
for 1 year, and then they would have to refinance.
Okay. Yes, that's fine.
Okay, you don't see a worry in that.
No, it's just a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Okay. Thank you. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Catherine. Don't forget to smile there in Federal Way because it's sunny out.
No, I'm so excited.
Right.
Okay, Benny, I'm just going to say something that hasn't become public knowledge yet. I know. But do you remember who Suzanne Giesemann is?
Yes.
Yeah, she's lovely. She's going to be in Seattle at the end of July, 25th and 26th, and she and I are going to be teaching a workshop all about everything that we love about intuition.
Ooh.
So we're going to teach a 2-day workshop here in Seattle. I'm currently hunting for a hotel. But these things,
wink, wink.
Yeah, wink, wink, looking for a hotel. But just so you know, she'll be in town, and we're going to team teach. It's going to be super fun. But those things will be on our websites probably in the next couple of days. She's very organized. Suzanne is. She used to work for the military, so she's got everything cooking, beautiful, sharp. And
yep.
Yeah, so just, you might want to save those dates, no matter where you live in the country, by the way. You could fly into Seattle, spend a couple days here when it's the most beautiful ever throughout the year. It's just gorgeous here in the summer, and spend the weekend with Suzanne Giesemann.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay, who do we have on the phone lines?
Well, we're going to take Angela calling in from Minneapolis, Minnesota, land of the 10,000 lakes.
Ooh.
Gotta love it. See, Angela knows. She gets it. Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Angela. What can I do for you?
Yeah. I'm anxious, but anyways, this past month has been kind of a whirlwind.
I'm sorry.
I lost a family member and then went on a meditation retreat and really opened up and then had this soul connection with someone. And then since I've been back, I kind of entered this dark night of the soul depression space, and how I've been letting myself be in that space is I've been trying to move more. And so that includes like dancing and just processing things somatically. And I joined a local yoga studio. And then a few days ago, I somehow like either strained or overstretched my inner thigh muscle. And I just feel a little flat on my back right now. Like,
I'm so sorry.
Everything just feels so crazy, and I'm like trying to let myself just be in this grief and process it. And then after the strain, I'm like, okay, universe, like, what do I need to know?
Well, because you didn't really, I mean, I know you were grieving the family member that was lost, but you went out in the world when you probably needed to just relax. You know what I mean? And so now you're on your back so that you can just relax and let yourself fully have this experience.
I've been having the experience. I mean,
I think you've had a lot of distraction. Lot of distraction.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can disagree with anything I say, but
Yeah.
you've been distracting yourself, you know?
Okay.
I think this loss is a lot more meaningful than you recognized.
Okay.
Because you logically put it into, a healthy perspective, which is wonderful. That's a great thing about you. But you have an emotional body too that needs you to rest and just really even if you're not crying, because we don't have to grieve through tears, but just to let the energy move out of your body and the connection you had to this person and how you supported that person or the people involved, or because it looks a little like it was a little complex for a while.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, so just go
She
ahead
came
and
to
rest.
me for healing sessions, and it was, and then it was me figuring out my boundaries about all of that.
Right.
It was complex.
I've
absolutely.
had, and here's one of the reasons why I think it was complex, because the universe just showed me this is, I've had clients before who I knew were going to pass away. And I told them, by the way, although not everybody believes me when I tell them, I don't think you're going to survive this illness, which isn't luckily something I have to say on a regular basis at all, which is wonderful. But when I've had that conversation with a client and they still choose to see me, it is kind of a burden for me. It's a little hard. I mean, I want them to come and see me. They want to come back, but then I feel kind of guilty. I feel, you know what I'm talking about? I'm seeing this in my head because it completely relates to your situation.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's a big deal. It's very core related because our job as healers is to help people get well, but in reality, people heal themselves. We provide opportunities, but this is not a permanent reality. Everyone leaves the planet at some point. So it's complicated, it's deep, and this is someone that's connected to you on even a more personal level than a client. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I'm talking about, okay?
I just feel like I have been in this month of grief. So
so what? But see, grief is powerful. As soon as you start to grieve, you're even grieving your old perception of yourself because you're changing rapidly. And this takes time. Grief is like a soft animal. It's the way they're showing me, it's kind of like when you take really fine like bark or really light soil and you start to pack it into your flower beds. It's so fluffy, you have to be kind of slow in the process. But yet it needs to be thick. That's what they're showing me. So just relax. Just be with it. Don't care. Don't try to fix this. Don't try to make it go fast. Just hang out. Your thigh is running the program right now anyway, so just let it go. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Oh, go ahead.
Should I just let go of the movement?
You think?
Yep.
Yeah. I know. Right?
Okay. Just let go.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for calling. That was a nice conversation.
Thanks, Angela, for joining us from Minneapolis, Minnesota. We'll take one more before the end of the show, unfortunately.
We couldn't get to everyone. I'm so sorry.
Rose from Brooklyn. Hi, Rose. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Thank you so much.
Hi, Rose. And thank you for waiting so long because you called in at the top.
So informative. I loved the first speaker a lot.
Wasn't he great? I'll have him again on the show. He's really lovely. What can I do for you?
Well, I have two questions, but one really important one for the
We'll
first
probably
thing,
only
if we
get
have
to the
time.
first.
That's fine.
2 minutes.
My cat has been really sick for like 3-4 days. 5
And how
days.
old is your cat?
Up, she's 7.
Oh, okay. So she's young.
She's been to the vet and like she just won't eat, and it's been like 5 days and she won't eat. X-rayed her. I just wanted to see if you could like do a scan and see if there's anything that you can see.
And so she's not eating, but she's still throwing up?
She's not throwing up anymore because they gave her some
antiemetics
medication.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it's her liver. So here's what I think happened.
But I also know a great animal communicator, if what I am suggesting doesn't work, but I'm usually right too. But, it's really nice to have someone who can, spend more time with you about it if you need it.
A little more focused.
Right. So I think it's her liver. She probably ate something a little poisonous. Not meaning, not meaning to. And you're on the right track. You're doing all the right things. But I really believe in natural remedies. So we're going to have you stay on the line. Either Benny or Courtney will get you your contact information. I'm going to email you a company that sells wellness herbs for pets. You'll have to make sure that they can take this remedy with the antiemetic. That may not be possible, right? We're not really sure because we have to make sure that they work together. But I want you to give herbs for your cat that work really well to help her detoxify her liver. Was she starting to dry heave a little bit too?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think this is bile. I'm like in the liver. That's where I'm at. So, okay. But I think she's going to be fine.
Okay, good. Yeah. I just don't want to take her in for an operation and all that to try and find something if it's like because I had a feeling it was poison as well. But
really, good
like
job.
Something.
Yeah,
something.
It could even be a flower.
Like
you
that.
Never know. And make sure she gets hydrated though, because cats get dehydrated easily. So make sure if you have to take her in, she gets hydrated. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Getting fluids every day.
Great. That's
Thank
beautiful.
You so much.
You're welcome. Have a gorgeous day in New York.
Thank you.
Yeah, and hang tight. I'm going to put you on hold too, real fast too.
Thank
okay?
you.
Thanks, Rose.
Benny.
Right.
And thank you everybody for the show today. And it was wonderful, interviewing Dr. Carbonell. You can read his book, Outsmart Your Anxious Brain, or the other books that he's written for anxiety. And thank you, Benny, so much.
The website, anxietycoach.com.
Anxietycoach.com. Remember the Greece trip. Yeah. We would love to have you. And keep an eye on the online courses. I'll be adding more, but our current vibrational one sold out. Joyful blessings, everyone. Bye-bye for now.
The views expressed on this program